It's just you.
It's just you. Your daddy over here, he doing whatever he do.
Mm-hmm.
So you a child trying to figure out what you want to do and how you supposed to succeed in life with nobody teaching you. So you got outsiders, like that's how you can see like the John Morants and shit like that. You get influenced by the streets.
Never resonated the two.
So
They be like, the streets raised me.
yeah, the streets raise you. So you get to thinking like these guys love me. At the same time, you just looking for attention. I pick and choose who I get my game from.
If you survive to be 28 and you bump your head, hopefully you got some game to give.
Facts.
And like you say, like niggas broke. It's sick to say, like especially in black households, you grow up with a broken family.
Yeah, the
Like-
shit was the normal.
Like my nigga Jono said, he grew up with his mom on one side, dad on the other. I grew up with no dad, so it's like you be looking for that. You it's not even intentional. You just looking for like some type of you grow up. It's environmental. You take from what you see.
But
so,
the guidance, but you looking at guidance and that man and not even knowing you looking for it.
Exactly.
At the
Like I
same
said, I used to
time.
look up to my cousins, like not father figures, but like I looked at them like brothers and they my cousins, but like the connection that we had because we all grew up with no fathers.
Yeah.
Mm.
But
So
look
it's
at
like
you, Rico. You and your father and your mother. You grew up in a 2-parent household.
and not to say like that's
Hold
like
on,
that's
hold
the
on.
whole thing.
Hold on. But you can see the difference.
Facts.
Rico bumped his head a little bit. But Mr. Rose gave him that game.
And it was
He knew right from wrong. He just chose to do the other.
for sure. For sure.
Know what I'm saying?
But
Touche.
but there's certain points where and like and I talk about this all the time. Like as I grew, my parents grew with me.
Yeah.
Facts.
Like my parents grew as parents as I became an adult because we had my younger siblings,
Yeah.
and Xavier. So it was times where they didn't know how to handle certain situations with me or how to even maneuver. You know, like just for small instance, like nigga, you ain't getting no van. I'm not buying you no Vans. Them white kids shoes. And what does my little brother have? My little
That's
brother has
it.
nothing but Vans.
That's it.
And
That's all they get.
You know what I'm saying?
Get them some Vans.
And it's real small. You know, it's a small point, but it's all goes back to the mind state of a parent.
Yeah.
Like how your mind is shaped of what the norm is, what's wrong, and what's right. They was figuring shit out, and you know what I'm saying, as a kid, well, not even as a kid, but as a young adult, I held resentment towards that. We all have held some type of resentment towards our parents, whether we were right and they were right, or they were wrong and we were wrong. We've all held resentment, and they probably have held resentment to us, just like you were saying. Like some parent blame their kid for them not being able to fulfill their dreams, and maybe that's a part of it too. But I'm not gonna say that everything that I'm not gonna take away from my parents, but everything that we went through or I went through, it wasn't conversation. It was I lived in a 2-parent household, but we didn't have the conversations like we're having now, or having the conversation like my brother and sisters were having, or even when till Stacks came around. Like
Facts.
there were certain conversations that weren't had until there was an additional teenager in the house or additional child in the house, or when she came, that and that's how they learn. Like, okay, I know I'm molding my child, but there's a child that's already molded. So
Facts.
I'm seeing how the world is.
Yeah.
So I got to be able to maneuver. I got to be able to not maneuver. I got to be able to now it shows like my world isn't the only world that my son is going to
crazy.
know.
That's crazy.
Yeah, like, so-
That's crazy.
And
So
you made a very valid
like
point, Fresco. Like when you said like you like your parents, you the oldest. So you
Yeah.
gotta think when you put yourself aside, I know when you having your son, it kind of give you that eye to be like, I understand now. You was
For sure.
even though you was growing and they had other kids, you was the first one. So they going through that same that's their first time going
They
through that
still learning.
experience
Exactly.
of like my son is going through some shit. They don't know no better because they learning like you learning.
Exactly.
You feel me?
And we don't, and you know, not just us, but kids in general, bro. They don't. And we talked about this before, but kids in general, they don't give their parents grace to grow.
Mm.
You don't give your parents a chance to grow. And I'm guilty of that. I didn't give my parents a chance to grow at certain times, and I just was like, I grew up and I started living to die. Like I always say, I was living to die, and it had nothing to do with my parents, but it had everything to do with myself and how I felt about everything. It could have been situations that my parents handled right, and I just wasn't fucking with that shit. You know what I'm saying? So I'm here.
Mm.
We outside, and that's just what it is. And like you said, a nigga know what right from wrong is, but sometimes a nigga doesn't know all the nuances between
Yeah.
right and wrong. It's like, that's wrong, but I can see where you found peace in that. I can see where Like we all know drugs is bad, but we don't. But they don't tell you how drugs make you feel. You know what I'm saying? They don't tell you how drugs make you feel. They don't tell you that it's sometimes it's like it's just yes or no. It's black or white. But in life, there's gray areas. Like I think like life is 80% gray areas and 10% black, 10% white. It's a lot of black and white, but it's a whole bunch of gray areas in between. So and it's hard to teach your child the gray areas because you want to, like you were saying, or like we all were saying before, like you want to protect them from as much as they can. You want to put them, you want to shelter them as much as they can. But it's some, like you said, you're gonna be honest with your kids. You're not gonna lie to them. But it's some things you just don't want to tell them the truth about. Like when I was smoking and I would not smoking in front of my son. I don't want my son to see me smoking. And maybe it's because I don't want him to look at me a certain way. Or maybe it's because when he asks about smoking, I'm gonna tell him it's bad, and then he sees his daddy doing it.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's and from point to your point, how you gonna tell me how to do this and you're not even doing? You know what I'm saying? You're not even doing right. And that was the beauty of my parents. Like they live by example of what you supposed to do, what you're not supposed to do. But to an extent, like we all saw different aspects of life. When I leave let me land real fast. When I leave my mama's house, when I leave my daddy's house, I'm going to a whole nother world.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to a whole nother world where I'm going to see shit that they didn't want me to see. They told me it's automatically wrong. They knew I was going to see it, but they just didn't know how, sometimes you don't know how to deal with this. Oh, he's really going to have to see these things. He's really going to have to feel these things. He's really going to have these thoughts because it's human nature.
Fact.
No matter how much you try to shelter your child from certain things, some shit is just inevitable. You can't prolong the inevitable. And, we went from dreams to reality, but at the end of the day, I feel like the conversation is needed. My fault, Malone. What was you about to say?
Nah, it's really my fault, my nigga. You just speaking so passionately, nigga. It just really sparked something in me. Because you say that shit like your parents can only teach from their life experiences. Like from when I was younger, like for example, like my mother used to think weed is a gateway drug. And what I didn't know at the time is like my fucking daddy used to be on drugs. And I got like other family members that used to be on drugs and hard going off that boy. So it's like, and I didn't even know. So from her perspective, they looking at it like, oh man, you might wish, God willing you won't, but you kind of falling into the pattern. You know what I'm saying? Like this shit could be a gateway into other things. And I'm thinking of it on an aspect of like, all I do is smoke weed. I don't do all the other shit. But they just being fearful because they know how that shit is and what the possibilities could possibly be. You know what I'm saying? So they probably don't mean nothing, but they just speaking from their experience and what they seen in their life. So it's like at a certain point, like you said, you go in to shelter a person so much. When they get out there, you got to make your own path in this world, and you got to make your own choices.
And we gotta, as adults, as humans, I know we are like we say before, like you can only know as much as your reference point holds.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can only go as far as your reference point, but sometimes we just gotta expand our horizons, expand what we've seen and what we've heard outside of our reference points to other people's stories. That's why I'm not against watching movies, documentaries, biopics. You can see what everybody's life is, and just being around different lifestyles and personalities, so you can see exactly where where you fit in, what your likes and what your thoughts are.
Facts.
But we appreciate y'all tapping into another fucking episode of Great Minds Drink Alike. If you ain't drinking,
You ain't thinking, you heard me.
act like you fucking know. I'm your boy Rico Emilio Fresco Bar III. Some call me Rico, some call me Fresco, some call me Hemi Neutron.
Hemi
But you
Neutron,
won't
yeah.
fucking call me as
If
broke.
you call that nigga broke, man, I might bat the piss out you.
Yeah, man.
Backhand, bitch.
Man, the back way, pause. I'm with my motherfucking brother.
I'm stack more black and D. I'm drunk now.
Yeah, I know.
And cuz I ain't on that bullshit. Just so we all clear here.
Yeah.
Stack more blacker. Mr. 444. I'm in this bitch, you heard me? Man, we got a special guest in the building, man.
Shit, Jono the Black Cat will go down.
Oh, Jono drunk too.
Yeah,
We
Jono.
got him. You heard me?
Yeah, we did. We got him,
Black
guys.
Cat came out.
We got him.
And we
Goddamn, it's your nigga Young G Malone, goddamn.
Yeah.
Pew, pew, pew,
Keep
pew.
it plain and simple.
Make sure y'all like, comment, and subscribe, man. Hit that notification bell, man. Good Pods, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, all that cute shit, man. Make sure y'all run it up. And tell the people your business page, B-Dog.
Oh shit. At top of the line, Kennel ATX.
Top of the line kennels. You need bullies.
Frenchies, I got all that